Hello, welcome. This is another amazing Star Authority case study for Beverly Hills Publishing. My name is Andrea Albright. I am the CEO of Beverly Hills Publishing, and I am so excited to introduce you to our amazing case study, Catherine Porritt. Hi, Catherine, how are you?
Hi, Andrea. I am just thrilled to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
I am so grateful that you are here to share your case study, your success story in working with Beverly Hills Publishing. And I would love to start with a little bit of the background because you have actually published a book before, haven't you?
I have. Actually, it was one of those things that I always wanted to do. My best friend reminded me of this only recently, that I was talking about this, when I was very, very young, that I always wanted to write a book. And so my first company was quite a significant company here in Australia, and it was a party and wedding company. And we were doing some groundbreaking things, and it was heaps of fun. And I was lucky enough that Penguin Viking approached me at the time, because I had a pretty significant following in Australia, to put together my book. So I went through the traditional publishing route the first time. And it was fun and it was interesting, and I cut my teeth on it, and we created a book that I'm very, very proud of. After I sold that company and started Business Bravery, and we're on a very different pathway, I really knew that I wanted to do my book in a very, very different way this time. So that's when I came across you, and I'm thrilled that I did, because I can't tell you how much I've loved the process. It's been extraordinary.
Oh, thank you so much. And I think it's really important because you are a published author, and so you speak from experience. You're able to really compare the two experiences. And you're also a branding and marketing expert. So when it comes to branding and marketing, you also know what you're talking about.
Well, I think so. I would call myself more of a business strategist, but effectively Business Bravery has an agency component to what it does. And because we work with luxury brands and we work with very high-end entrepreneurs, very similar to what your company does, Andrea, the thing that's most important to me is in my agency that we've got a very elevated message. We're very elevated with our positioning and our marketing. So you're right, I think I really do understand marketing, sales, business strategy, how to put a well executed plan together that kind of can fit into the full ecosystem of what we're creating for our clients and for us as a company. And the Beverly Hills Publishing way that you structure things has slotted into that in the most extraordinary way. It's been great.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, we're going to go a little deeper into all of this. So can you please share your experience with how we came up with the name of the book, and how that was really an incredible situation for you to be able to say, wow, we actually found a name that no one else has ever discovered before. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I came into this process with a pretty fair idea of what I wanted to achieve with the book. And, I was pretty wedded to what I wanted to do, and I came into it because I was very specific about wanting control of the IP and the ideas and how we brought the ideas to fruition. So to me, I came into it almost, a little bit kind of boxed in with what I wanted, blinkered with what I wanted to achieve. And what you've been able to do with me, Andrea, is really open me up and say, listen, let's just throw all those preconceived ideas out the door. It's not that we're going to throw them out altogether. We're just going to park them across to the side here, and we're going to let the ideas flow in a really beautiful and natural way. And so I know I'm meandering, but my point is that I came in with a very clear idea of what I wanted the book to be and what it was going to be about. And through the process of working with you and you allowing me to really fully express, and be very, let me meander, let me be open, let me wander. in my ideas and kind of pushed me in ways that I'd never even contemplated. Suddenly, where I was very fixated here, we ended up here, and I could not be more thrilled with the direction. And so, to answer your question around the name of the book, again, I came in with a very fixed idea on what it was going to be. I use the word maverick all the time in what we do with our clients. Most of my clients, I would describe them as maverick entrepreneurs. They're the kind of the groundbreakers, the trendsetters, the pioneers, the mavericks of their industry or their niche. And so I've always used that term maverick. And so I had this very clear idea. It's going to be about mavericks. It's going to be about maverick entrepreneurs, and we're going to weave in luxury. And you came in and just said to me, you'd done the research, you'd really contemplated where I wanted to take things. You really listened to me and got to understand my ideal client in the most extraordinary way. And through that process and your experience and your thinking patterns, we ended up with something that I'm just beyond thrilled with, but it would never have occurred to me because I never saw myself as a legacy maker. And so when you came to me with this idea that we were going to be talking about disrupting legacies, I was just blown away. I had to sit on it for a moment and let it kind of sink in. And then once it kind of washed over me, I was beyond thrilled. And as I'm talking to people about the concept now, and as I'm talking to people about the direction and the name and what it means and the significance of it, it resonates. It really resonates. And not only does it resonate, but the work that you've done in the background around the search optimization, like the thinking that not just about how is this going to resonate with my ideal client, but how is it going to translate to something that's going to ultimately bring more leads in, and ultimately bring eyeballs to my cause, my mission, my revolution. So all of that, it's like tick, 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 tick down the line. And the fact that I can own it and feel really, really good about it is just the cherry on top. It's fantastic. Amazing process.
Thank you so much for your perspective on that. I love how you can explain it so simplistically because it really is revolutionary. We are the only publishing firm that looks at the marketing message before you even write the book. And so you going through that process and seeing and knowing that we have a market that's actively seeking and searching for this term, when we have the book released, it is going to automatically line up with the market. And full disclosure, we have not finished the book yet, but Catherine's success story has been so incredible. I asked her to jump on and share her experience while we are still in the process of writing and publishing her book. So let's talk a little bit about the design. So what did it feel like, if you can share your experience of having that design come back and really resonate with the message and the vision that was in your head?
Yeah, again, having a background in branding and marketing, I had a very clear idea of what I wanted for this. And, I can imagine when you're working with someone like me who has a background in marketing and branding, sometimes that can be probably a little intimidating with, we need to get this right. Or, perhaps the client's going to come to you with ideas that don't necessarily mesh with what's actually going to resonate with the market. So I, again, came into this incredibly open, and the process with branding with you, I thought was really great. What I loved about it was that we did everything on the screen together, and it was a true collaboration and a partnership. So we were literally sitting there with your ideas and my ideas and letting that, kind of take us, because we're both marketers and strategists, we're able to think about what's going to resonate with the ideal market, but also what fits well with me and the brand and my company, and your ideas from the outside looking in with where we should take this and what was really going to align with our brand vision. And so all of that came together really well. The process was great. It was quick. We got to a we got to a resolution and a place where we both felt very comfortable, I think within about half an hour of playing around with some stock imagery and some colors. I came into it, we'd just done a brand refresh in our company. So I came into it with a very clear vision of how that needed to mesh. But we also were able to take what we'd done with the company rebrand and then add an extra flavor to make this a standalone brand by itself. I think the Disruptive Legacy whole brand could stand alone with the work that your team's done on that. And I remember I was quite nervous. It was only last week that you showed me the book cover and we got on our call together. And I'm a little bit, again, skeptical about this because I do this with my team day in, day out. They're showing me brands for our clients. And I was thinking, oh my goodness, I hope it's what I want. And, that kind of that excited, but also, I don't want to be that problem client. And so, look, honestly, we opened that book cover up and I think I've never been so close to tears when I've seen something. It was just perfect. There was not one thing that I would change, not one thing. And that's like normally, even if I get something from my team, I'm moving bits and pieces around. I'm moving this here and I'm moving that there, or let's try this, or there was not one thing that I wanted to change. And I quickly shared it with my team and my friends and family, and they were all the same. I was just like, oh, it's perfect. It's perfect. So thank you for hearing me and translating what you heard into something that is so perfect.
It's so rewarding whenever you can say, thank you for getting me, thank you for seeing me, and being able to have that reflected back to you. It's such an incredible, rewarding experience. And I'm so grateful that you were able to have that experience, because you deserve to be seen and you have this vision in your head. And, it could be really frustrating when you can't translate your vision and no one can capture it or express it back to you.
Yeah, that is frustrating. And I mean, you and I just mesh. You and I you understand me, or because you've had such incredible experience as an entrepreneur. You don't come into the publishing world just as a standard publisher who spent their whole career in publishing. And I'm not, no disrespect to people who've had a career like that, but when you're someone like me who is very entrepreneurial and you've got a very clear idea of direction and what you want to, where you want to take this and what you want to achieve out of it, and it's a business transaction and it's part of an overarching business strategy. It's not just a book. And the fact that you've got such extraordinary entrepreneurial experience and such a high business acumen means that you're coming at this at a completely different level. And that's why I think we're getting, the synergy is so good, the outcomes are so good, and why it's been such an enjoyable process. I'm with a peer. I'm not with, someone I'm having to explain all of this to. You just get it straight up, which has been fantastic.
Thank you for that. It's so amazing the way you're explaining it. Well, let's talk about the actual writing of the book. So you have been through the process of writing a book before, and what does it compare to the experience that you're having writing your book with Beverly Hills Publishing?
Oh my goodness gracious, they're so different. They're so different. And I mean, I need to acknowledge that the last time that I did this, it was like the perfect storm. I had been approached by the publisher. My husband's a diplomat and we were living in Tokyo on posting when the really big earthquake and tsunami went through Japan. And so I had just signed the contract to write my book when that all happened. And my two kids were very young at the time, one in preschool, one in kindergarten. And so my husband was away. Long story short, we got evacuated back to Australia, and so and my husband was still in Japan. So I suddenly was like a single mum, had a really big business, had been, pushed back into Australia, which I was happy to come back to Australia, but without my husband, 2 young kids, big business, and had just signed a contract to write a book. So it could not have been, a more ridiculous situation, but I'd always wanted to write a book. So, and with the traditional publishing route, I'm sure there are people who are big enough to have ghostwriters or have people take the writing on. I certainly wasn't at that time. I had, a good following, but certainly not at that level where the publisher would say, hey, we're going to bring someone in to do this with you. So I literally would put my kids to bed and write the book at night. It took me about 6 months to get it all done. And I mean, 7 nights a week for, 3 or 4 hours flat out of editing, writing, working with the publisher, working with the editing team to put all of that together. Then it all went off to photography and typesetting and all of those things, and came back and we went through a further iteration of the editing process. And all of that was really fun, but it was a huge amount of time and energy. And, when you're running a very significant business anyway, that was an incredible time suck, and I couldn't see the outcome of that for such a long time. It was about 12 months from start to finish to book release before I was able to get out there and really start, seeing the fruits of that labor and seeing it in bookshops and being able to have those media opportunities. So it was a long time from start to return on investment with that. It was a good process, but I never wanted to go, that doesn't suit my lifestyle now. What I wanted to make sure that I did this time was to ensure that I was working with someone who understood the quality of what I wanted to achieve, would allow me to have some control over what it was that we were actually writing about, that has some control over the marketing and those sorts of things. I didn't need it with you anyway, but that's what I thought I needed up front was, that was my impetus really to finding you was, okay, there's a few companies out there right now who, where you can go pay some money to have someone ghostwrite your book. But I wanted it done in an incredibly elevated way, and I wanted it done with someone who understood that this wasn't just about the book. The book and the impact that it has, and the fact that it's part of an ecosystem for my business, and the fact that it's part of, we've got a very clear ascension model inside our business with our sales funnels and with our marketing mix and with, the way that we strategize how we bring people through our business. And I needed my publisher to understand all of those things. And I honestly thought I wasn't going to ever find that. I had parked, I think I said to you when I found you, I'd been sitting on this for at least a few years going, I just don't think I'm going to find the right way of achieving this. And when we first spoke, I was just beyond thrilled that you seemed to understand what I was getting at, and the process was going to be what I was looking for. And I could be in control of that. So long story short, the writing process itself is the complete antithesis of what I went through the last time. And I could not, again, I keep saying this, I couldn't be more thrilled with how this has all come to fruition. You interviewing me, that process itself was amazing. And again, I think if I just had any old ghostwriter do this, and again, I'm not putting anyone down, but the fact that you come at this with such a level of intelligence and deep, thought, and you asked me thought-provoking questions, and you came at it in just a way that really created content that I never really foresaw that we were going to be able to achieve. So, amazing process. I think I can't remember how many weeks it was where we were meeting weekly for you to interview me, but it went by in a flash. And literally it was just you and I sitting on a phone call together for an hour a week. And that was it. That literally was all I had to do was, in my massive schedule, just turn up for 1 hour a week and have you lead me on this really fun conversation and let me talk, but, you know, just let it all tumble out, and then you finding the holes in it and plugging those holes for me so I didn't really have to think about the strategic side of it. That was amazing, really amazing. And then the process of actually getting, you know, having that then translated into the first chapter and having an amazing ghostwriter who you handpicked for me based on my personality and my niche and my ideal client and the way that I speak. You having got to know me so well over the interview process allowed you to pick a ghostwriter who clearly is such a fantastic choice because she nailed it. You know, some back and forwards, but you expect that. I had back and forwards 1,000 times when I wrote it myself, for goodness sake. So, you know, it's never going to be perfection the first time, but boy, it was close. And, you know, second draft came through and I was like, I don't know, there's maybe 3 things that I wanted to change. It was so good. So this experience, like completely different worlds, completely.
I love the details of how you're explaining that. And I always say that I never want any of our authors to go into writer's block or overwhelm, because that is such a devastating place to be, and it's so exhausting. And so the fact that we've been able to just flow and keep things flowing, I mean, it makes it enjoyable, which is what writing a book should be.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I didn't come into it expecting it to be enjoyable, but it has been. So that was an unexpected bonus. It's been great.
I love it. Well, now the book has even become an even bigger vision than what you originally thought. Can you share with us how you're seeing this book become really, it's evolving and taking on a life of its own? Can you share with us some of the vision that you're seeing for this first book of yours to be published with Beverly Hills Publishing? Let me say that again. Hold on. Can you share your vision of what you are seeing for this book to become?
Yeah, I'm so excited, and I know that it'll probably even expand from here. But where I started with this was, you know, I wanted to get my ideas out there and I wanted to share it with a broader audience. So we've been very specific about just working with a very small hand-picked audience up until now. So this is my kind of catalyst to get my message out to a broader audience. And it allows me to do it. I'm based in Australia. Most of my clients are in the UK or the US. So particularly at the moment where we can't travel a lot, my getting to my audience is, you know, even though I work virtually, it's harder. And so having a book, the idea of it was to be that catalyst, to get this message out to a bigger market and then allow me, you know, the opportunity off the back of that to then to speak with media and those sorts of things to get our message out more broadly. So that was really the reason to do it. Where it's morphed from there, where it's expanded from there, is as we've written the book and as things as the ideas have expanded, and as the way that we're actually the audience, the messaging, the revolution has expanded through the work that we've done together. To me now, this isn't just it's not just a catalyst. It's not just this, you know, this little book that's going to sit on a shelf somewhere and someone's going to read it and go, great, I'm going to jump on this woman's sales funnel. It's more than that. This is what I'm seeing for the first time. And again, because I'm able to work with someone who's such a creative and such an innovator, you know, I come to you with these ideas and say to you, a couple of weeks ago, I said to you, oh my God, I want to put this into like a big coffee table book, and I want it to be, you know, I want it to be hardcover. And because it's about luxury strategy, I think we can do that. You know, it doesn't have to be just a paperback. We can really take it to this next level and let it be part of this, you know, let it actually be part of the brand. And you beautifully said to me, yes, we can do that. Yes. And then we've been talking about, how that expands from there and what the sales funnel might look like. To me, it's become more than just this little paperback book. This is now going to be, I can see it becoming a really big part of our sales process, as insofar and partnership process and our authority building process. And now it's going to do so much to expand our mission. And I think for all of my team and my clients, for them to feel like they're at home for the first time, that there's something that here, this represents me, get me, this is what I'm all about. That's what I see. This is big. It's really big. I love it.
I love that you're continuing to expand your vision, and as your publisher, it's such a rewarding experience to support you in expanding that vision beyond what you even could have imagined it would be. And for me too, because we're continuing to innovate, because that flow and that creativity, it's just effortless, it's flowing. So it just keeps growing and expanding, which is a very exciting experience.
Yeah, I think the flow is a great way of explaining that. So it's definitely been innovative and creative, and it's been, intellectual and well thought out and analytical and all of the things, that kind of sit over here. But the whole thing's just flowed from beginning to end. Like I said before, I didn't expect to come into this and feel like it was fun. But you're my last meeting every week. On a Saturday morning for me here in Australia and a Friday afternoon for you in the States. And I look forward to that meeting all week. It's my, like I said before, it's like the cherry on top. Oh, I get to speak to Andrea about my book today. It's my last meeting for the week. What are we going to create today? It has absolutely flowed, and it's been super fun.
That's amazing. Wow. Well, you have shared so much about your process, about your experience, about your vision. And I know that we're going to continue to watch this evolve and watch the launch and watch the book being published and the marketing. And I know that it's just the beginning. So for the person who's considering partnering with Beverly Hills Publishing to get their book done in 90 days, what would you say to somebody who's maybe on the fence or unsure if this would be the right fit for them?
Yeah, I mean, there's no question in my mind, Andrea, that for someone who wants to have control and be innovative, so here's the thing, because those two things are quite almost kind of push on each other. But you are able to allow the client to have control of the process, but also allow this innovative, creative process to flow as well. And so that's extraordinary. Being able to see your client, allow them to still have control, but also lead them to something that they never could possibly have imagined. That's pretty extraordinary. It's a gift. And, I sing your praises to anyone who will listen to me. And I'm thrilled with the process, with what you've created for me, with where we're going with this. I see this as absolutely a long-term partnership. This doesn't end with one book. This is what's next and what's after that and what's after that and what are we creating here. It's a partnership for life. I don't ever want to not work with you. And if someone came to me right now and they have, and have said, what's it like working with Andrea? I would just say, oh my goodness, this has been the most wonderful, extraordinary, fun, innovative, creative, powerful process that I've been through. And I'm a business strategist. I work with people and I'm pushing them all the time. I'm pushing them to expand their vision. You've done that with me. And that's rare. It is really rare. It's a gift, and I'm grateful beyond the words that I have to express that. I get a bit emotional about it. I just, you are truly gifted. And the fact that we met one another, I think, is so serendipitous, and we will be in each other's lives, I'm sure, forever and a day. I just see it's true partnership. So if anyone is on the fence about whether to work with you or not, for goodness sake, jump in. If you want that, if you still want to maintain control of your IP, you want to maintain some control over the process, but you're open to someone who is a true peer to experts and thought leaders, then jump in. Andrea is extraordinary, amazing, innovative. I mean, I just, like I said, I don't have the words for it, but it isn't you won't be let down. You won't be let down. I know it's not going to be perfect. No one's searching for perfection. I think we're all, we know if we're innovators and creators and experts and authority builders, that it's all just inaction. But it's certainly the most extraordinary process that I've been through, and I'm thrilled to have been on the journey with you. And I highly, highly recommend that anyone who's sitting on the fence right now jump in with 2 feet and both arms and everything that you've got, everything.
Thank you so much, Catherine. You are such a joy, such a pleasure. You light up everybody's life who encounters you. And I know that the person watching this video has definitely been inspired. Thank you for sharing your journey so far. And we would love to stay in touch, keep following you. So where can we find you?
Of course. So I'm at businessbravery.com. That's where you'll find me. So all of my work over there, my team, and the amazing things that we do. So I'm thrilled to be in contact with you and to kind of be, hopefully, a little part of that decision-making process to working with Beverly Hills Publishing, because you should.
Thank you so much, Catherine, for sharing your journey so far, and we'll be able to continue to learn from you, grow together, and I cannot wait to see you holding this amazing book in your hand. Will you come back and share the rest of your experience once we get published?
Yes, absolutely. I have this amazing photo, one of my favorite photos, when we first saw my book in a bookstore, and I was with my daughter, the last one. And it's one of my favorite photos of me standing beside Penny holding the book. I'm going to replicate that, but this time it's going to be this new one that I'm so proud of. I'm so proud of. So yes, I can't wait to share the rest of this story with you all. Absolutely.
I'm holding that vision of you holding your book. It's such an amazing moment, and I cannot wait to share that with you. Thank you again, Catherine, for just being who you are and for sharing your experience with Beverly Hills Publishing, and for allowing the viewer to get a behind-the-scenes look at what it's like to publish with us.
It's my absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for allowing me to share this story.
Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope that you have gotten some insights into how Beverly Hills Publishing is changing the game of publishing. We are different, we are innovative, and if you are a big visionary thought leader like Catherine, and you're looking for a partner who can support you in bringing your message out to the world, we would love to hear from you. Thank you for watching this video. Thank you for being a person on the cutting edge. And remember, stop denying the spotlight. It is your time to be a star authority.